Hello, folks. If we want a healthy body, we exercise and eat well. And if we want to relieve stress, we take the necessary steps to deal with it. But what about our spiritual wellness? Spiritual wellness comes with many benefits too. And when we are spiritually well, we nurture trust, generosity, relationships, and joy. And joy is what we want to talk about today. Welcome to the Fontenay Magazine e-learning channel, integrating business, work, and life. Now, we offer free articles on business, work, and life at our Fontenay Magazine e-learning website. We also offer a host of solutions with our Visuale systems and Fortress membership programs, as well as our storefront that provides ebooks and PLR programs and workshops. And we have another channel, Affiliate Marketing with Richard, where we provide regular digital reviews. Thank you for subscribing to our channels. Welcome to How Spiritual Wellness Nurtures Joy, a podcast about personal growth and development. And last week, we focused on the joyful path, how to conquer stress and find peace. And today, I've taken the theme one step further and try to shed a spotlight on our spiritual well-being. Hi there, I'm Richard Fontenay, your host for today's journey into the realm of spiritual wellness. And together, we'll explore several meaningful ways to enhance our spiritual well-being and bring a greater sense of joy to our business, work, and life. Our world can be a gloomy place, but we have the power to bring a little spiritual joy to it. In this episode, we'll start by understanding the essence of spirituality, and then delve into the role of joy in our spiritual sphere. We'll explore how joy influences our spiritual life, what joy truly means for us, and finally, how we can cultivate more joy in our lives. So, get ready to relax, open your mind, and join us on this journey of how spiritual wellness nurtures joy. Let's get into it. Now, before we discuss how spiritual wellness nurtures joy, let's talk a little bit about what we mean by spirituality. People often confuse spirituality with religiosity or being overly religious. But that's not the case. We all have a spiritual side, and it's up to us to decide how we nurture it. Now, you might do so by attending church 3 times a week, and your neighbor may prefer meditation, a quiet time, or some music. It's a personal journey, and we should be mindful not to judge how others are nurturing their spiritual life. After all, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to spirituality. As one of my friends said, and I paraphrase her, I walk among the trees and they cover me with a spiritual connection to all that is good. Now, if we're feeding our spirit and paying attention to our spiritual wellness, then we're in a good place. Spirituality isn't necessarily about a specific belief system, although often a belief system nurtures our spiritual self. It includes connecting to the wider world, our community, and the people around us, and ourselves. It's different for everyone, but we all can tap into the spiritual journey. We can open our minds to it. and it's a real side of our selfhood. Spiritual wellness has a major influence on our overall mental health, influencing our levels of joy. And how does this work? How can spiritual wellness matter so much to our joy? Well, it feeds our sense of purpose. And as we cultivate spiritual wellness, we learn more about what matters to us. And when we clarify what's important, our focus shifts away from the unimportant. It's difficult to feel joy or find happiness when we aren't living our purpose. However, I find that one's purpose must be positive and uplifting to those around us to have any real meaning for us and others. Spiritual wellness makes us feel more connected to the world. So when we feel like we have a greater purpose, we feel more in tune with the world and the people around us. What the world does is wake us up to the fullness of life. To paraphrase Eckhart Tolle. This realization is really a valuable way to nurturing our joy. Spiritual wellness makes us feel like we're part of something bigger. We're not responsible for everything and anything, and there are people around us really to help shoulder the burden. They're also there to experience the joy with us, perhaps with a small group of friends or something that happens at work or in the business. Wherever it is, it gives us some sense of joy, and we want to share it with others. So whatever it is, the key is not just to keep it to ourselves, but to share it with others. We can also use our spiritual journey to expand our support network. Often we seek our spirituality in community, whether religious or secular. For instance, when we go to spend time in nature, we can take a friend and make it a date. By sharing our form of spiritual expression, we can build and maintain stronger relationships, and nothing is more joyful than that. What does our spiritual wellness look like? Well, getting to the root of ours will take some self-discovery. And as we do this, we ask ourselves questions about our important relationships, our values, our community, what inspires us, what inspires joy in our lives, and what achievements have we made that we can look to as a humble endeavor. Now, each answer will help us understand who is important to us and what experiences matter to us. We can use this information to determine how we will feed our spiritual wellness. You know, it's all about getting in touch with what our inner self wants and needs. Now, having said all of this, what do we mean by spiritual joy? And how do we nurture it? So let's continue. Spiritual joy could be defined as a profound feeling of inner peace, contentment, and satisfaction that arises from a deep connection with our true self and our inner spark of the divine. It goes beyond mere emotion or fleeting happiness, and encompassing the pure delight of just being alive. Now, I explore this in my book, Eternal Unfolding, a journey that turned into a different kind of love story. I provided a link in the description below. Now, here's a little excerpt from the book. Julish, the main character in the book, was experiencing a sense of peace and inner joy, a joy that was hard to explain. He felt content, happy, and joyful, like the happy wanderer whistling away as he hiked along the trail. He knew that sense of happiness or joyfulness would quickly disappear if he encountered a grizzly bear. It would turn into a fear. He also knew if something untoward happened to Chippy, his happy joy would turn into sadness. Now, Chippy was a companion during his hike, and Chippy was also a chipmunk. The inner joy that Julich was experiencing was different. It wasn't a happy pill type of joy. It had come from his relationship with his God. It grew out of a spiritual connection born out of love. It was almost like what Chippy said in the mornings. I'm all right with God. And Julish sensed that what he had said was really, I'm all right with God, because Chippy understood God's deep love and that his little life was a song of praise to him. Now, Julish's feeling of joy was something akin to that. He was experiencing a quiet confidence that said to him, no matter what happens, everything will be all right. His God will always be at his side in love. Now, Julish's feeling of love had welled up within him as he released himself to this great love. And in return, he received an inner joy that he couldn't fully comprehend. He gradually recognized that it was a gift of grace bestowed upon him from another facet of love's great diamond. Now he asked himself, could a sense of joy last through some of the most darkest times in life? And slowly, the answer came to him as he reflected on someone he had known. Noella. Noella always had this sense of joy. In her teens, she unfortunately had a very serious accident, which left her with a crippling disability. She suffered dearly from pain, and at least once a year was admitted to the hospital for painful treatments. That went on for several years until eventually her body succumbed, broken, and withered away. Now, he had known Noella as a living saint. No matter how she felt, she always greeted visitors with open arms, a smile, and a joyful, confident trust in God, and lived for the moment. And no matter what happened to her body, she felt she would be all right. Noella had shared her gift of joy with others despite her pain and suffering. So, how do we nurture joy? Now, there are several ways to do this. And the article in Fontenay magazine gives at least 10 ways to nurture joy in your everyday life. The article is identified in the description below. In summary, we can meditate, we can relax or use relaxation techniques, mindfulness techniques, or prayer. We can keep a journal to help track our feelings. We can find someone that we trust implicitly to help us along our journey of self-discovery. We can nurture our friendships, nurture our romancing, and nurture our familial ties. We can talk to the people that we admire who seem to have a strong spiritual side. Now, this works together to nurture joy, which comes with many other benefits. The point is that there's no end to what spiritual wellness can do in our lives. In essence, we're deepening our sense of self and our place in life and making ourselves a better person. So there you have it, folks. Thank you for joining us today on this episode of How Spiritual Wellness Nurtures Joy. I hope you have been inspired to bring joy into your life. And remember, it's not about religiosity, but a deep spiritual awareness, nurtured by a sense of purpose, a connection with each other, and a connection to your community. Think about Julius and his take on joy connected with the divine within you. And consider Noella and her ability to have joy even when suffering. And finally, go to the Fontenay magazine to find strategies of incorporating joy in your life. Now, as you go about your day, remember the importance of connecting with your spirit and changing your thinking to cultivate a joyful outlook. You'll be a light in what is now a very troubled world. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others who you think might benefit from it. And I thank you for doing so. Now, until next Wednesday, take joyful, take care of yourself, and continue uncovering your true self so that you can become your best self. Signing off, Richard Fontenay. Bye for now.